It's the Rule of Nerds.
And we're talking all about Game of Thrones. It's season 7. We're 2 episodes in. Let's do it.
All right, so just warning you, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Do not watch this unless you've seen episodes 1 and 2 of season 7 of Game of Thrones.
Here we go.
All right, so we're talking about season 7 of Game of Thrones, episodes 1 and 2. So we'll take both episodes in one. So let's talk about the major scenes. All right, so first up, we'll talk about this episode 1 scene where you're probably wondering, it has the Hound in it. And you have Thoros and Beric, the Brotherhood. And you're like myself, you're probably wondering, why did they spend so much time on some random, house where they basically didn't do anything except bury a couple of corpses.
Yeah.
FYI, for some of the more eagle-eyed viewers, you probably remember them from season 4 when the Hound had Arya, and he was supposed to deliver Arya, and they came across the same cottage, and there was a father and a daughter who took them in, fed them, and remember how at the start they were like, see if they have ale, and then the Hound goes, they don't have any. Because in season 4, he asks for some ale, and apparently he's this religious guy who's like, no, we don't drink that in these parts of the woods. And he even offered the Hound money to stick around, because he said with somebody who looks like you, that would scare off any evildoers. And what did the Hound do? While Arya was asleep, she wakes up, she sees the Hound beating up the dad, stealing the silver that was supposedly salary that was going to be given to him should he decide to work there, and left them with nothing. So that's where that whole... Because you might be wondering, why is he so upset? It's because he probably thinks, yeah, they're going to die anyway, but he can't help shake the idea that maybe if he didn't steal the silver, maybe they'd still be alive.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of long-term storytelling there.
It would have been lost on you.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, they've always had the long game in mind. Especially prior to this season when they had material. They've had 5 books worth of material, so they've always had that advantage over other TV shows where they know what's going to happen in the future. They know what they want to do. And that's just a great example of how they can tell long-term stories here. Great scene in the pilot.
Even that part where he was burying them and he tried to come up with a prayer. That was the same prayer that the dad said before eating dinner. And then he was like, are we going to mention all the gods? Yada yada. Let's just eat already and finish off with this. So it's all kind of interconnected. And let's also talk about the vision that he saw. Well, the Hound has always been afraid of fire. And then there's this little throwaway line like, with my luck, I should end up with 2 fire worshippers. He looks into the fire and voila, he sees an image, and he talks about the White Walkers walking around the wall and towards the castle by the sea.
So if you know the how the wall works, the wall, most of what we see of the wall is the castle called Castle Black. That's where the main forces of the Night's Watch are located, especially the Lord Commander. That's his castle, Castle Black. But there are a lot of smaller castles scattered all across the wall. So one of these castles near the end is called East Watch by the Sea. And in the first episode, we know that the
wildlings,
Jon Snow is now the king in the north. He's not Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, but he tells Tormund, who now leads the wildlings, to go occupy that part of the wall. So if there is a hint at the White Walkers going to that area, and we know that a group of our characters that we like headed in that direction as well. I don't really like their chances against the White Walkers.
And here's the thing. Now, a lot of people were saying, how can they walk around the wall when, you know, at the end of the wall is a body of water?
Yeah.
Now, some eagle-eyed viewers caught that in the opening billboard, you would always see the wall and the water. In season 7, episodes 1 and 2, if you see it, there's a significant change. The water is not color like blue anymore or dark colored. It is now colored white. So they're saying maybe, again, this is just pure conjecture, solid. Maybe it's frozen solid. That's why the White Walkers can literally now walk around the wall.
And remember, there is this quote that refers to the White Walkers where it goes something like, they don't come with the cold. The cold comes with them.
Yeah, they bring the cold.
They're the ones who bring the cold. So very exciting. And also, what does it mean? We know that the wall is supposed to have enchantments against the White Walker. We know that, I think it was Uncle Benjen who told Bran last season 6, I think, that he can't go with them across the wall because it keeps dead things out. So what does it mean if the White Walkers can go around it? Will the enchantments not work? So that's something very exciting that we really want to see later on.
Because, you know, like, we don't know the limits of the enchantment. I mean, it's not infinite, so it must end at some border somewhere. So maybe they can just walk around it. All right, so next up, let's talk about Jon Snow going to Daenerys and Dragonstone and Dragonglass.
Okay, so
this is a string of
this is a big story point right now. So Daenerys, through her hand, Tyrion Lannister, is requesting Jon Snow, King in the North, to come to Dragonstone and bend the knee.
As suggested by Melisandre, who makes a surprise appearance in episode 2, and she says, you're going to need to work together. Yeah, he's seen a lot of shiz, and you need to talk.
But, you know, Jon Snow, his advisors around him are all saying that's not such a great idea to go there. Remember the last time a king or a Stark traveled south.
It wasn't good news.
Left the North, and you saw what happened to Robb. You saw what happened to Ned Stark. What happened to Ned Stark's father and older brother back in the rebellion. So we know that Jon is being dissuaded from going down to Dragonstone and meeting with Dany.
But he's going
because he has an ulterior motive.
Now, here's the thing. The main point is that he goes, yes, maybe it's an ambush. Yes, maybe it's a trap. Do we really have a choice? Because at this point, it's not really a battle for Westeros. It's not a battle for the Seven Kingdoms. It's really a battle against the White Walkers. And the only way we can beat them is by having the weapons that kill them, which is Dragonglass, which Dragonstone has a lot of. Thank you to information sent by Samwell Tarly, who is in the Citadel, who discovers it in the book that there is a huge, big-ass mountain of Dragonglass underneath Dragonstone. So, just to give you another piece of connection here, there was also the surprise appearance of Ser Jorah in the first season. First episode, but more of him on the second episode. And he has suffering from grayscale. And Sam also saw that, you know, maybe Dragonglass can also cure grayscale. And let's not forget that one of the former inhabitants of Dragonstone was Stannis with his daughter Shireen, who was cured of grayscale. And is it a coincidence that it happened in Dragonstone, where it sits right on top of a lot of Dragonglass? So maybe they're connected, maybe they're not, but they're definitely putting the bread trail, the trail of breadcrumbs. It's up to you to do the math. So I guess a little bit more and more we're seeing that conspiracy theory that Samwell Tarly, good old Sam, will actually play a huge role in the ending of Game of Thrones.
And just a nice little reminder of that connection there. Sam says that he wants to help Jorah.
Yes.
Because Jorah's father, Jeor Mormont, was
Lord
the Lord
Commander.
Commander when Sam and Jon first started the Night's Watch. Um, if you don't recall, Jorah has been so separate from all the North stuff.
Yeah.
So it's easy to forget that he was once a Northern Lord. So back in the day, Jeor Mormont, Lord
dad.
Commander, he used to be head of the Mormont family. He willingly joins the Night's Watch, leaves the lordship to his son Jorah, including their ancestral sword. But he does something bad. He trades in slaves or something. So he's exiled to Essos, which is where, of course, he later meets Daenerys Targaryen.
Right.
After he leaves there, the current leader of the Mormont family is his cousin, little Lyanna Mormont,
Right.
who we all know and love, and who is the one who's most loyal, and she's proven her loyalty last season, this season to the Starks. She's been stealing all of the scenes she's been in. So Mormont family turning out to be a very important piece of the story. Maybe there's a bigger role for Jorah as well.
Exactly, and the fact that Sam spent a good chunk of episode 2 trying to cure the supposedly incurable advanced grayscale that Jorah is suffering from makes it very exciting, because now you have Dragonstone, the now very coveted Dragonstone, in demand because of its power to kill White Walkers and also to cure grayscale.
Yeah.
And so we're still rooting for the entire Sir Friend Zone to get back to Daenerys and maybe do some of his magic.
Yeah, and all that to say is it's building up to the first time we're gonna see face-to-face Daenerys Targaryen and Jon Snow Targaryen, or whatever his real name is.
I am so excited.
So the big question marks here, there's a scene in episode 2 where Melisandre tells Daenerys about the prophecy of the prince that was promised.
Yeah.
And Missandei says that translation isn't quite right. It doesn't have a gender. It might be prince or princess. So the question here is does it have to be either Jon or Dany?
That's right.
Is it both? Remember, this TV show is called Game of Thrones, but the book series is called A Song of Ice and Fire.
Right.
Now, what we still don't know is, does ice and fire mean ice as in Jon Snow and fire as in Daenerys Targaryen? Or does it mean ice and fire could be just Jon Snow by himself, who is part Targaryen and part of the North?
Fire.
So right now we don't know if Jon and Dany are headed for a team up. We don't know if they're destined to go head to head. Right now, a lot of uncertainty. We know they both want different things. Jon is going to travel to Dragonstone. He wants something. Dany wants something else from him. So, gonna be a lot of tension there.
And let's now move on to the Dothraki. I mean, this entire Cersei / whatever alliance she is, Euron, and how the first clash is now, remember, you have 3 teams. You have Dany, you have Jon, you have Cersei. The first clash happens in episode 2, and it happens between Cersei and Dany's team.
Yeah, so
that's the first contact.
It's really interesting because they start out with a planning session in Team Dany.
Yes.
In the same place where Stannis used to do his plans, right?
And they said it was very reminiscent of the Avengers, because you saw in one room you had Ilaria Sand, you had Olenna Tyrell, you had
the Greyjoys, Yara,
the Greyjoys,
and Theon.
Everyone's there. It was like a dream team.
Of course, Dany, and she already has Tyrion and Varys by her side.
Exactly.
Alongside. So they make this plan where they're going to be assaulting King's Landing, but
not in the way you think.
Yeah, Dany can't bring the Dothraki and the Unsullied on the assault on King's Landing. It's going to be seen as a foreign invasion.
Yes.
Right? So their plan now is they're going to have the armies of the Tyrells, the armies of the Greyjoys, and the armies of Dorne to make that assault on King's Landing. Instead, the Dothraki and the Unsullied are going after Casterly Rock, the house, the home of the Lannisters. So, gonna be exciting. We speculated in our preview for this season that that clash we saw it, between Lannister forces and
the Dothraki,
the Essos, the forces from the east was gonna be in King's Landing, but I think we had this conversation off the air. But I was pointing out they were wearing red cloaks,
yes,
Lannister cloaks, right? So King's Landing is usually defended by the gold cloaks, the ones who are sworn to the crown. We've seen red cloaks in that battle, so it makes sense. It's going to be at Casterly Rock. It's going to be Lannister forces, not Queen forces.
Yes,
it's going to be Lannister forces. So.
But that said, that was the plan. But if you watched episode 2, you know that a huge monkey wrench has been thrown into the gears, and now I think Daenerys Targaryen will have to have a plan B, because Euron just basically single-handedly took out 2 of the main pillars of Dany's army. You have the Dorne group, and you have the Greyjoy group in one attack. So what happens next, we're not really sure. But at this point, we know that plans are made, but what happens next is really like out the window.
Right now we're not sure about what's going on. What we do know is there was a very unceremonious dismissal of the sand snakes in this episode. They were built out in previous seasons to be these badass warriors. Euron pretty much by himself takes out 2 of them, and I'm not entirely sure. Were those 2 the bodies that we saw at the end? Okay, so at the end you see 2 of them like mounted in front of the ship. So we know 2 of the sand snakes are dead.
Yes.
But that means there's the other sand snake and Ilaria Sand, her mother. They've probably been captured right now. Yara is probably captured right now, and Theon, who had a chance to save his sister from Euron, he was more like a reek than Theon Greyjoy.
But they said that that might be like a little bit of a plot device, because who knows? Because let's face it, he was really at a lose-lose situation. If he even charged, let's say he was the courageous Theon Greyjoy, if he charged, they will both be dead. He was too far away. There was no way he could reach Yara and save her. So maybe jumping is not exactly such a bad thing, because now he's alive and he is in a position to plan something to rescue Yara. So maybe it's not so bad.
And also, the one thing that's interesting to talk about here is we assumed that because Dany had the support of Olenna Tyrell and Ilaria Sand and Yara Greyjoy, that they had the Greyjoy family on their side.
Right.
They had the Tyrell family on their side. They had the Sands on their side, or the Martells on their side. But we see Jaime Lannister trying to court Randall Tarly, the dad of Sam, and also one of the bannermen of House Tyrell, and he's pretty much offering him to join the Lannister side, and once all this is over, they might be the ruling family in the Reach instead of the Tyrells.
Right.
So we're not just because the Tyrells are on Dany's side, we can't assume that their forces are going to be on their side, that all of their bannermen are going to be on their side.
This is Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of with the Game of Thrones, a lot of the things that people are always looking forward to are returning characters, like characters that sort of disappeared, and we're kind of like, are they going to show up? Is it going to happen?
And there was this amazing reunion in this episode.
Reunion that everyone's talking about.
We finally see Arya reunited with Hot Pie.
That yes, too, and also one of the 2 last direwolves alive.
Okay, so it's not just Hot Pie.
It's not just Hot Pie.
It's Nymeria. Nymeria is the big reunion, and there's this amazing scene between them. Okay, but
it needs explaining. One aspect.
It needs a lot of explaining.
It does.
Okay, so basically what happens is Arya hears from Hot Pie that the Boltons are gone and the Starks are back in Winterfell. So
Jon is king of the North.
So instead of heading south to King's Landing to take on Cersei, Arya's going back up north to meet with her family.
And since she's back in the north, one evening while she was like, starting to get a fire started, a pack of wolves, to make a long story short, arrives. She's probably wolf dinner, but then here comes a huge dire wolf. And of course, it's like, gasp, could this be Nymeria, whom she tried to get rid of season 2? Season one. Season 1.
Yeah.
Episode 2, right? So she was the same direwolf that bit Joffrey, and in order for Arya to save Nymeria, she tried to throw stones, go away, so that Cersei will not kill you or something. All right, so basically, she invited Nymeria, come with me, I'm going back to the north. And then Nymeria looked at her, didn't eat her, then left.
Yeah.
And then Arya goes, that's not you. So people are like, so is it Nymeria or is it not Nymeria? Now the explanation.
So if you are a book reader, you know for sure that is definitely Nymeria. Okay. For one thing, there have already been rumors from previous to this point of the story that there's this huge wolf queen that has been roaming the Riverlands, leading an army of wolves behind her. Okay, and for a second thing, we know that in the books, Arya has this thing that they call wolf dreams. We know that Bran is a warg and he can transfer his consciousness into animals at will, and sometimes even people. But some of Bran's siblings actually have the ability to transfer to their direwolves, not consciously, but Arya would sometimes have dreams of where you see her. Or you see her consciousness inside something that is roaming the Riverlands, eating a deer or other things. So we know that Nymeria is alive and well. We know that she is a wolf queen in the Riverlands, and everything about that scene shows for sure that is Nymeria.
Yes.
So what does that last line means? That's not you. That's not you. What it most likely means is that before Arya says that, she offers Nymeria to, I'm going up north.
Yeah.
Why don't you come with me? Mm-hmm. And pretty much let's go back and we can go back to living our old life back in Winterfell. But what she means by that's not you, she means that life is not you.
Yeah, and actually this was a nod to a season 1 episode 1 scene where Ned Stark was actually trying to convince Arya to wear like girly clothes, look like a princess, and Arya speaks almost the same sentiment, and she says, that's not me.
That's not me.
So if Nymeria is the wolf version of Arya, she cannot expect Nymeria to do her bidding in the same way that her father cannot expect her to do what he wants. So it's like, I had to, go to the beat of my own drum. So should Nymeria. So and you have your own pack, you have your own thing. It was not fair for me to ask you to leave all of that behind, to follow me. So in as much as that was not me, this is not you.
And more importantly here is that, what does that mean for Arya now moving forward?
Right.
Because if she acknowledges that going back to Winterfell to rejoin the Stark family is not something that Nymeria can do at this point in her life, Arya has her own thing going on too. She has her revenge list. Mm-hmm. She has been training as an assassin. She has these skills. She's not the same Arya that was taken away from her family back in season 1.
So actually, basically, they're all both going back to their own packs.
So
Nymeria has her own wolf pack, and Arya is now on her way to go back to her Stark pack.
No, the question is she still going to the Stark pack? Because
for now she is.
No.
Just immediately.
No. But I think that is what the line, that's not you, was referring to, not just Nymeria, but also for Arya.
Yeah.
Because she is planning on going back to Winterfell to rejoin her family. But, at this point in her story, does it even make sense? She is now this assassin. She is now doing the wishes of the god of death that she met in Braavos, can she still go back to being that Arya? If she goes back to Winterfell, is that still her? Is she still the Arya Stark that is going to be living a life with her brother and her sister, or is she now so far removed from that? So I think this is all to say that when she said that's not you, she might not have been talking to Nymeria. She may have been talking about herself.
Yeah.
So that now there's a little more uncertainty. She may still be heading north, but we don't know long term if Arya is gonna get that happy ending that we're all wanting. All we want here is to see a Stark reunion, at least all the living Starks.
At least, yeah.
All the living Starks, but from early on, Game of Thrones warned us. If you're looking for a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. So maybe it's not gonna be that happy reunion we're all wanting, but and now it's really interesting to see what happens to Arya moving forward.
And a lot of people are still hoping, or at least suspecting, that Nymeria will still have some sort of role in the future. Maybe another cameo, maybe to jump in to save the day for Arya. We're just hoping, because we all love the dire wolves and they killed most of them.
Yeah, there's only 2 left.
We're still hoping for some awesome jump in to save the day from either Ghost or Nymeria or both. Yeah. Who knows? All right, so there you go. That's our little recap of episodes 1 and 2 of the penultimate season 7 of Game of Thrones.
It's endgame. We're so close.
We are so close, and so tell us all about it. Did we miss something? Is there something that for you was the most memorable, or something that is worth noting? Tell us all about it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. Where is Arya headed? Who's gonna win the Iron Throne? Who's going to be sitting there at the end of it? We're so close. You can barely. You're right there. You already you can feel it. We're in the end game. So the ending is so near. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you still want to see. Please comment.
All right, so we'd like to invite everybody to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Rule of Nerds, and also check out our social media accounts. It's The Rule of Nerds, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, for our individual accounts, you can check me out, Chico Garcia, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And you can follow me at M_Volante on Twitter and JM_Volante on Instagram.
Nerds out!
Here we go!